It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, the science quiz program here in the Prince George's schools. Has been going on for 35 years, but because of the pandemic, we've altered things just a bit. All of our players are safe in their homes. I'm here in the studio, but we've preserved the tradition of Science Bowl. We have the same questions here, we have the same rules, and the nice thing is the students don't have to compete against each other directly. We have no buzzers here. Let's tell you a little bit more about the game, but first of all, here are the categories of questions we'll be using today.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we have 6 categories, and instead of students picking from them, we are going to give them questions from the 6 categories here, a 5, a 15, and a 25-point question. We start our teams out with our 50 points. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. At the end of the 2 rounds today, between Charles, Carroll, and Greenbelt, the top score will be the winner and will come back to play Walker Mill for the chance to become the 3rd of our 3 semifinalists in this year's middle school competition. A compressed competition this year. We've got Martin Luther King, we have Robert Goddard, and one of the 2 schools today could be our 3rd semifinalist. We have a team today starting out. All veterans have played this game before. Let's meet now the team from Charles, Carroll, and would we please say hello to Luis? Wave to everybody, Luis. And Daisy. Hey, Daisy. Nice to have you here today. And our captain is Diana. Hi, Diana. All 8th graders, all were here before, and we know we're going to have a great game. If you folks are ready, let's start. Let's go to our green things questions, our 5-point question to start the game. Here it is. Make sure you talk to each other, compare notes, and Diana, our captain, she'll ultimately give the answer to me. 5 points. Every year, as the weather gets cooler, people get a taste for a spice, especially if you're at Starbucks and you want a latte. People get a taste for a spice named for this largest member of the squash family.
Pumpkin.
Yes. Yeah, pumpkin spice latte. They're putting pumpkin spice in everything, even mouthwash. Ooh. Next, for 15 points. During the pandemic, many have turned to a meatless diet by using tofu, a high-protein food made from these legumes. You get tofu from what legumes?
Tofu.
This would be soybeans. Soybeans is the right answer there. Let's try the 25-point question in green things. It is a visual. All right, Charles, Carroll, look at this picture, if you would, please. These are foolish rice seedlings. It's a disease. It causes the plants to grow too tall. It's caused by a fungus that produces something called gibberellic acid, a chemical that, like our insulin and adrenaline, is a kind of this chemical.
So you guys think it's hormones?
It's a chemical. So our hormones chemicals.
Talk a little louder for me, please. I heard hormone. Daisy, what did you say?
I asked, because Diana asked if they were hormones, and I said I think they are hormones.
Okay. Diana,
so
what do we say?
Hormones.
Hormones is the right answer. Good answer. Got yourself 25 points. That's the way to do it. Let's go to the zoo. 5 points. On the island of Madagascar, the world's oldest island, you would find these unique primates.
Primates. Isn't that like a monkeys?
Yeah, types of monkeys. So
Monkeys? Daisy, do you agree?
Correct answer is the lemurs. The
Oh,
lemurs. If you ever
lemurs.
saw those Madagascar movies with King Julian, the king of the lemurs over there, and the lion and the hippo and the giraffe, lemurs is the right answer there. Let's go to Zoo Parade for 15 points and show you another visual question. I like this question. Many female birds have a brood patch on their breast, as you can see here, to help transfer their body heat during what process?
Migration, right? Diana, do you think it's migration?
I mean, it said transfer heat, so they usually transfer heat to their babies.
Or
so what
eggs.
is?
Oh,
That's
Call that process.
What do you
process would be birth.
birth.
Incubation. Incubation, when you
Incubation.
incubate an egg. You know, sometimes in school, your teacher will have some eggs and you put it in a warm container to wait for it to hatch. Well, that brood patch transfers the heat, you were right, Diana, about that, onto the eggs to help them start to grow and finally hatch. Incubation was the right answer there. Try 25 in zoo. Recently, it was horrible. They found 300 dead elephants in Botswana. They didn't know what killed them. They finally, after testing some of their body samples, they found that it was a bacterial infection. Not what they feared at first, that it was this that killed them. They realized that it didn't because the elephants still had their tusks. No one had hacked them out.
Wouldn't that be poaching?
Poaching. Is that what you said, Luis?
Yeah.
That is correct. Good answer. 25 points. 3 more questions for you in this first round. You're doing well. Body systems for 5 points. These body parts can be raised, and if you're cosmetically inclined, plucked.
Can be raised and plucked. So if it's a body system.
It's a body
Right.
part.
Part.
A body part that can be raised, and if you are interested in cosmetics, you might want to pluck them.
Isn't that eyebrows?
Eyebrows.
Pluck your eyebrows?
Yeah, you pluck your eyebrows. I don't. Some people do. Plucking eyebrows, indeed. All right. That's good teamwork. I like that. Thanks, Diana and Daisy and Luis. All right, body parts, body systems for 15. Your eyeball, which is otherwise covered with a tough white material called the sclera. The white of your eye is the sclera, S-C-L-E-R-A. Has a transparent layer in the front known as this eye part that after a person dies can be removed and donated.
Is it a pupil? Diana, what do you think?
A pupil is the little black thing in your eye, but it's a clear thing. So it's kind of reminding me of like contacts, but like, I guess we could go with pupil.
Pupil
not
is actually
sure.
behind that, and you were right about the clear part in the front. That clear part is called the cornea. The cornea, C-O-R-N-E-A. And people have corneal transplants that are most transplanted part of the body ever. Last question for you in this first round is body systems for 25 points. Listen carefully to the word. The valves that prevent blood from flowing backwards in your aorta, which is that huge artery coming out of your heart, the valves that prevent the blood from flowing backwards in the aorta are called semilunar valves. S-E-M-I-L-U-N-A-R, semilunar valves, because each one looks like half a what?
A moon.
A moon. Good. Semilunar. Good answer, Daisy. That means you end this first round, Charles Carroll, with 110 points. Nicely done. It is now time to meet our second team today. We've seen Charles Carroll, and now let's meet the team from Greenbelt Middle School, a past county champ here, a wonderful school, and some of these young people I think have played with us before. Let's meet them right now, and let's first talk to Evan, who is our captain. Evan, nice to have you with us today. We're also joined today by Alexis. Hi, Alexis, if you wave to everybody. And Donna, nice to have you here today as well. Could you wave to us? All right. We have 9 questions for you in this first half of the game. 3 from, let's get physical, 3 from Green Things, Zoo Parade, and Body Systems. So if you're ready, and you look like you're ready, you've been waiting, let's start. Here are your Green Things questions for 5 points. Because movie theaters have been closed and sporting events have been canceled because of the pandemic, the growers of this traditional snack have huge stockpiles of kernels in silos just waiting to be buttered.
I'm gonna go with popcorn because
Popcorn, you got it, Alexia. You can almost taste it, can't you? Buttered popcorn. Good answer. 15 points. Hardwood trees like maples and oaks that are used for making furniture are deciduous trees, while softwood trees like firs and pines used for newsprint, for instance, are these kinds of trees, the opposite of deciduous.
Does anyone have any guesses?
That's the way to do it, Evan. Kind of ask your colleagues there for anything in a little ferment. Just throw things out so people know what you're thinking.
he said pines, so I'm thinking conifers.
Say it again, please.
Pine.
Alexa, say what you just said.
Conifers.
Coniferous is right, yes, or evergreens. Nicely done. All right, got 2 in a row. Let's go for 3. Let's get all these Green Things questions. Here's your 25-pointer, multiple choice. Plants aren't connected to their seeds with an umbilical cord, obviously, but they do provide the tiny embryos with a supply of food. That supply of food is known as the endosperm, the cuticle, or the hypocaudal. The food that is within the seed, it is like the stored food, it's like the umbilical cord for that little embryo. Is it known as the endosperm, the cuticle, or the hypocaudal?
Okay, well, the cuticle is like Alexis and Donna, isn't that like above or where your nail meets your skin? So I don't think that it's, which means that it's endosperm and do you remember?
Hypocaudal.
Endocaudal. Well, do you guys want to go with the first one or the last one?
Okay, Evan, what you got?
We'll go with the
endosperm, cuticle, or hypocaudal?
endocaudal. Wait, what do you say the last one was?
Hypocaudal, and the other one is endosperm.
Okay, hypocaudal.
All right, now, if you listen carefully, what does endo mean? Under, within. So it's the food within. So that would have been your right answer, hypocaudal. Excuse me, endosperm was the right answer there. Let's go to the zoo. Your 5-point question is a visual. Look at the picture, please, that you'll be able to see in just a moment here. Pretty disgusting. There are species like this caterpillar that look like feces. Yeah, bird droppings. What better way to look unappetizing than to resemble poop? This is not considered mimicry, though, but a form of this M-initialed word that is associated with Halloween. We're looking for masquerade. Masquerade. Let's move on to the 15-point question in Zoo Parade. The anti-venom used to counteract a poisonous snake bite is made by injecting snake venom into a large animal like a horse and then collecting these antis that the horse's blood produces. Anti-whats?
Antibody.
Antibodies is right, yes. 25 points in the zoo. One of America's most endangered birds is a crane, C-R-A-N-E, whose name is also that of a cough, C-O-U-G-H, otherwise known as pertussis. Name these very endangered cranes. It has a name that is also a cough. Whooping cranes, and a whooping cough. All right, I have 3 more questions for you. Here's your body question for 5 points. The next epidemic in the United States could be COVID-19 survivors dealing with diseases of this renal organ, R-E-N-A-L, that, like the lungs, comes in a paired set.
A renal organ that comes in a paired set. Do you guys, can you think of any
Kidneys pairs.
Kidneys come in pairs.
Alexis,
Yeah.
what are you saying? Talk up, please.
Kidneys.
Yeah.
Donna says kidneys. Yeah, it is kidneys. Good, you got it. 5 points. Let's go on to the 15-point question in body. This, think logically. If you break a long bone, like your femur in your leg, doctors will apply a hard cast to immobilize it to give it time to heal. But if you crack a rib, they can't put a hard cast on your chest because why?
Well, because you need to. All right, wait. This is a discussion part. Would you guys say it's because you need to breathe, and that would make your chest go in and
It
out?
would restrict your breathing.
You got your thinking cap on, Evan. That's exactly right. So it'd be like putting you in a straitjacket. You couldn't expand your lungs because you had that cast around yourself. Good answer, young man. Last question for you before we take your first break. While upper is the opposite of lower, what vein that returns blood to the heart is the opposite of the superior vena cava?
Okay, so if it's the opposite of the superior vena cava, do you guys think that it could be like a different word, vena cava? So like, can you think
we're
of any?
looking for an opposite word, like the opposite of upper is lower, and the opposite of superior is this.
All right, you guys think of any word?
Donna, you're saying something. What are you saying?
Inferior.
One more time.
Inferior.
Inferior. You're saying inferior.
No,
Inferior.
Interior, not interior. It is inferior, I-N-F-E-R-I-O-R. Inferior is the opposite of superior. That means, Greenbelt, you end this first round with 105 points. Before we ask any more questions of the team from Charles Carroll, any science questions, a few personal ones about themselves and their schools. And let's go to Diana first. And Diana, nice to have you back again. Do you feel comfortable because you've played this game before?
Yes, it's a lot less nerve-wracking.
And we hope that is always the case. We don't want people to be too upset. We want you to have some fun here. Tell me who the principal of your school is and the name of your coach.
Mr. Hendershot, and my coach is Miss Chaudhry.
Absolutely. And she has worked very hard to get you guys ready for this today here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like about the Science Bowl?
I think I personally like the competition. I'm very competitive, and so when playing, it like brings out that competitive side of me.
Absolutely. And you play the game so well too. And they didn't make you captain for nothing. Tell me what you want to do someday.
Hopefully one day I would like to be a lawyer.
So you like to argue and you win arguments, I take.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let's meet your colleagues here and let's go to Luis. Luis, nice to have you with us today. Luis, you're also a returning player. What do you like about this game? Why did you come back?
I came back because I just like how competitive and fun this game is to test out your knowledge about science.
Absolutely. How do you know so much about science? Because you've demonstrated that. How do you do that?
Yeah. Sometimes, you just search it up before, and then it goes inside your mind, and then you remember all this background knowledge that you have.
Absolutely. It's like you've got a Wikipedia up there, and you just hope you can tap into it. What do you want to do today, young man?
One day, I want to be an engineer, and I have been practicing right now.
That's great. That is great. Obviously, a good math student and a good science student. And to round out the team here is Daisy. Daisy, nice to have you with us today. And you are back again as well. Why did you come back?
I like just like how Diana said, I'm also a really competitive person, and I just like the opportunity of getting to learn more.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're here for you so you can compete again. You know, the pandemic has been a challenge. How have you coped with this distance learning? Has it worked for you?
Yes, it's worked for me because now everything's online, so it's kind of easier to stay organized.
Yeah, so we're online today. What do you want to do someday, Daisy?
I'm not sure about what I want my career to be, but I think maybe something in the field of mathematics.
Very good. Yeah, you have a lot of time to figure out where you want to spend your life. Hopefully you'll find something that you like to do and that you're good at. All right. If you're ready for your second 9 questions, here we go. Give it your all. Get that score up there. We start with your questions in Let's Get Physical. First one for 5 points. A decidedly unhealthy ingredient in many prepared foods is corn syrup, which is high in this F-initialed kind of sugar.
So, guys, you hear about fructose a lot next
Oh
to
yeah,
sugar.
yeah, fructose.
Luis, you were on that like white on rice. You got that exactly right. And Daisy and Diana jumped in. It is indeed fructose. For 15 points in Let's Get Physical, a propeller on a boat is simply one of these simple machines turning in water.
It's a motor, right?
It's a fan. It's a fan.
I'm pretty sure it's called a motor.
A propeller on a
Oh.
boat is simply one of these simple machines
Because fans
turning
blow
in water.
air, but for a boat is blowing water instead to propel.
So you think?
I think it's a fan.
Yeah, I think
But,
it's a fan.
Okay, so let's do fan.
Good try. It's a screw. It's a screw in the water. It's an inclined plane, if you think about it. Next, 25 points. Boy, if only knowledge could be gained this O-initialed way, you'd get every science bowl question right. This O-initialed process is the movement of molecules of a solvent across a semi-permeable membrane from areas of low concentration to high concentration.
So we know it starts with an O.
Do you guys know what osmosis is? I don't know.
Yeah.
In case
I
someone
heard
died.
of it, but
Yeah.
So osmosis.
Osmosis, you got it, 25 points. Daisy, you go to the head of the class. She said, I didn't even know that. You knew it. See, it's like Luis was saying, you learn things and it stays up there. Nice going. Potpourri for 5 points. Igor was the famous hunchback lab assistant who appeared in Mary Shelley's famous book about this man-made monster.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about Frankenstein.
So Frankenstein?
It is Frankenstein. And of course, a lot of people think his name was Igor, but in the original book, his name was Fritz. Fritz. Igor sounds better. 15 points, potpourri. The G in 5G, which is the next step in technology, has what same name as the birth order, like your grandparents, then your parents, and then yourself. What does
Generation.
that G stand for?
Generations.
Generation is right, yeah. 25 points in potpourri. The phase of sleep when you dream most actively is called REM sleep, R-E-M, which stands for what? REM sleep, R-E-M, when you dream. What
I know
do the
the M
letters
stands for motor,
R-E-M stand for?
I think the R is for rapid because I heard about that before.
Rapid. I think M stands for motor. I'm not quite sure on that one.
So we're looking for an E.
So E. And it talks about dreams. So rapid.
If you ever watch your dog
Emotions.
sleep, you notice his eyes moving. It's rapid eye movements. Rapid eye movements. Good tries, though. 3 more questions for you in the game. Let's get them. Dateline for 5 points. Boy, look out. Coconut seeds, some weighing almost 4 pounds, fell from a 15-foot palm tree in Hawaii a few years ago, seriously injuring people because the seeds built up a lot of this kind of energy on the way down.
Potential.
Kinetic.
Kinetic.
Kinetic,
Yeah, 'cause
yes.
it says
Boy,
on the- yeah.
Luis, he was jumping out of his chair. He knew that one. Thank you, guys. Daisy and Diana, good answer. Kinetic got you 5 more points. Let's go for 15 points. To get sunshine and fresh air, students during the 1908 pandemic of this T-initialed bacterial disease, also known as consumption, went to school outside. In
So,
1908, there was an
starts with a
epidemic
T.
of what T-initial disease, also known as consumption. And to get
Tuberculosis.
fresh air, which people thought helped to cure the disease, students went to school outside. For 15 points, what is that T-initial disease?
So
So we know.
T as
T.
in
we
Tom.
know that it means to eat or like consumption. So
So
something that starts with a T and means consumption.
Letter again is T like in Tom. Diana, what do you say?
Daisy, I honestly don't know. So
It is
Daisy, do you know?
tuberculosis.
thinking about the-
Tuberculosis, TB. Tuberculosis was the right answer there. 25 points, last question. In Dateline, last question for you in the game. This famous Greek reportedly yelled, "Eureka!" when he saw the water from the bathtub spill out after he had immersed himself in it, proving water displacement. Who was this famed Greek who people must have thought was crazy, running down the street naked, yelling, "Eureka!" He was Archimedes. Archimedes. I'm sure people talked a lot about him. They didn't have Instagram back there or Facebook, but he would have been a topic. All right. That means you end the game, Charles Carroll, with 190 points. A very nice job. You should feel proud of yourselves. It is now time for Greenbelt's second half, their last 9 questions. Let's find out about these young people and their schools. Evan, nice to have you with us today. Have you played this game before?
Yeah, I played it in 5th grade.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back again. What do you like about the game? Why'd you come back?
Well, to be completely honest, my science teacher, Miss Pagunson, forcefully asked, but I'm glad that I said yes because it was fun. And
we're glad you said yes too. Tell me a little bit about your school. Who is your principal? Miss Pagunson, as you mentioned, is your coach. Also last year's winner of the Krista McAuliffe Award, one of the top teachers in Prince George's schools. Amazing woman. And who's the principal of your school?
her name is Dr. Valentine. I think she's here, actually.
Wonderful, and we'll have a chance to see her at the end. Thank you very much. And tell me about yourself. What do you want to do someday, young man?
I have no idea. I feel like every week I want to do something different. So yeah, I don't really have a plan, but we'll see.
Adults like to ask people like you and the choices are, it's almost limitless. And yeah, you're going to change and change. You'll finally find a groove in you. It could be serendipitous. One day an epiphany will hit you and that'll be it. You're going to be successful. I like your discipline. I like what you're doing here today. Let's talk to your teammates. Where is Donna? Donna, come on up. Donna, nice to have you here today. Why did you want to do this? Because you didn't have to.
I just like science, and when Miss Pagunson was talking about the Science Bowl and asked who wanted to join, I decided to try it out.
We're glad you
And
did.
I'm
We're
glad I
you
did.
did. And liking science, that's kind of like the entry question here. Do you like science? Because if you do, you're in the place where you need to be. You're doing a nice job here today. How do you come by your science knowledge? Because they wouldn't have picked you if you didn't have things to offer today.
I've always liked learning about science. Like sometimes I randomly just go on Google and search something up to learn
Certainly
about
when you go online, there's so
something.
many resources out there today. Donna, what do you want to do someday? Your captain says he's still not sure. What about yourself? Do you have any inklings yet what you might want to do professionally?
I'm not really sure either. Like at first I wanted to become like an architect or something, but now I don't really know.
That's all right. Just hang in there, and it's going to come. It will come. I promise you that. And let's talk to Alexis. Alexis, you know an awful lot about science. You've weighed in with some of those answers there. How do you know so much about science? Because something's working for you.
I have an amazing science teacher. Miss Pagunson's my science teacher, and she's an amazing teacher, and I learn a lot from her each and every day.
What a nice thing to say about Miss Pagunson. And yes, she is a fan of a lot of students because she is so disciplined and she really cares about each one of you guys. Why did you want to do this?
I wanted to do this because I have been watching Science Bowl a lot, and when Miss Pagunson offered it to me, I thought like this was my chance, so I accepted it.
And you're making the most of it, and you're demonstrating why this is where you should be. You know, you're a wonderful player. And I'll ask you too, your other two teammates are still not quite sure what they want to do. Do you have any inkling about what you want to do someday?
Yes, I am leaning towards being an anesthesiologist.
Why so?
Honestly, I love the medical field, and I'm not sure why specifically anesthesiologist. I just researched it, and it sounded like a really nice place.
It's a very responsible job. You've got to keep people alive during surgery. So yeah, you've got life and death decisions to make. I know you're going to be a good one. All right, Greenbelt, now time for your last 9 questions. Let's go to the Let's Get Physical category. 3 of them here for 5 points. We begin. While we associate volcanic eruptions with lava, when Yellowstone Park's Old Faithful geyser erupts, it releases this.
Geysers usually release water.
Yeah, water.
Lisa, what did you say?
Water.
Water, yes,
Water.
in the form of?
Steam.
Steam.
Or-
It comes out as steam because it is superheated down below. We will take water. For 15 points, it may surprise you. If you like pretzels like I do, you'll be surprised to know that the brown on pretzels, that brown gloss, is created by spraying them with sodium hydroxide, a chemical that is extremely alkaline, meaning it measures where on the pH scale. I need a number. Doesn't have to be an exact number, but it has to be in the right range. And a strong alkaline solution like sodium hydroxide would register where on the pH scale. Give me a number that will be within the range of alkaline chemicals.
I'm thinking 7 through 10.
7 through 10, we will take that, yes, because anything above 7 is alkaline. Below 7 would be acidic. Thank you, Alexis. You were right on it. For 25 points, Let's Get Physical. Gore-Tex, G-O-R-E-T-E-X, is a wonderfully revolutionary waterproof material. They use it to make tents and raincoats, even dental floss. It has the chemical name, it's a big one, polytetrafluoroethylene. Polytetrafluoroethylene. I'll give you 25 points if you can tell me how many fluorine atoms is in that molecule. Polytetrafluoroethylene. How many atoms of fluorine?
God. Well, do you guys remember if tetra means a number? Because I don't.
I think tetra means like 100. I mean 10.
Well, how does Tetris get the name Tetris? I guess there's a lot of shape. I don't know.
I like your thinking. I like your thinking there, Evan. And tetra
Wait,
was the clue there. What tetra stands?
I think
tetra
I
means 4. 4.
Oh.
Tetrahedron has 4 sides. Tetrafluoro, 4 fluorine atoms. Let's go to the potpourri questions for 5 points. Of the 4 seasons during the year, this one of 2 with an equinox, is the only season with 2 names.
Fall and autumn.
You got it. Fall and autumn. You were right on that. Super job, young man. Next, for 15 points, potpourri. Since we're constantly sharing microbes, germs, if you will, with each other, just by talking to each other when we don't have masks on, we're in a sense inoculating each other to help us develop herd immunity. Another word for inoculating is this more familiar term.
So
know what inoculating means?
No, I don't, but maybe infecting or
When you spread germs, it looks like that's what
But
inoculating means.
immunity came after it.
so.
Evan, you had an idea.
Oh, I'll go with infecting.
Say it again.
Infecting.
Not good try. Vaccinating. Inoculating and vaccinating are nearly synonymous. All right, I have a visual question for you for potpourri for 25 points. You're going to see two test tubes come up. And you know, the surface tension of a liquid causes something called a meniscus. That's where you see that little dip at the top of each one. It forms in the top of a liquid in a container. If it bulges upwards, the meniscus is considered convex. If it bulges downwards, it's called this. What is the opposite of convex?
Concave.
Concave,
Yeah.
yes indeed. Perfect answer there, Evan. 3 more questions. Stay with me. Here we go. I wish I were this guy. A man recently down in Arkansas found a huge diamond in Arkansas's Crater Diamond State Park. It weighed 9.07 watts.
Diamonds are measured in carats, right?
That's
But
correct. A 9.07 carat diamond is a girl's best friend. That is a huge rock. For 15 points. Hale-Bopp is a comet. Saffir-Simpson is a scale for measuring hurricanes. And Epstein-Barr is one of these disease-carrying agents that we know a lot about now during the pandemic.
disease-carrying agents.
Epstein-Barr is one of these disease-carrying agents that we know a lot of now during this pandemic.
Virus?
It's a virus. Thank you, Donna. Absolutely right. Last question of the game is a multiple choice. Lord Kelvin, who founded the Kelvin temperature scale, once said, and I quote, "X-rays are a hoax." That would be news to this man who discovered them. Ernest Rutherford, James Watt, or William Röntgen, who discovered X-rays? Rutherford, Watt, or Röntgen for 25 points. Talk among yourselves. You need these points. Defend your choices.
So we have two choices, right?
What do you say?
You have two choices?
We have three choices.
3 choices. The man who discovered X-rays, Rutherford, Watt, or Röntgen. Evan, you choose.
Maybe the X-rays are named after the person somehow.
What do you say?
Maybe the X-rays are somehow named after a person. I'm not really sure.
Rutherford or
Rutherford, Watt, W-A-T-T, or Röntgen, R-O-E-N-T-G-E-N. And Rutherford is R-U-T-H-E-R-F-O-R-D, if that helps you.
Yes. Röntgen.
Röntgen is the right answer. And the reason why they called it X-rays is because they didn't know what else to call it. So X just filled in the spot, and they never did change the name. So that means you end this game, Greenbelt, with 200 points. Congratulations. Wow, it was a nail biter. It came down really to that final question. Our final tally today is Charles Carroll 190, Greenbelt 200, which means Greenbelt is our winner today, and they will be taking on Walker Mill for the chance to become the third semifinalist. Let's give a nice round of applause to all of our players, our Greenbelt players, and also our Charles Carroll players out there. You did a super job. Miss Pagunson is here, Miss Chaudhry is here, and Elizabeth is there from Greenbelt, and I have Jocelyn here from Charles Carroll, and all of our wonderful players, and we hope you enjoyed today's game. I hope you played along and tried to match wits with these wonderful students. These were tough questions, but they were tough competitors, and you can see why they were chosen to represent their schools. They're great ambassadors for their schools. We hope to see you next time on the next edition of Science Bowl. Until then, I'm Dave Zerman. Bye-bye, everybody.